What a hectic series of events just getting this video off the ground. Sound check real quick. I've changed an audio setting. I had to remove a mic. I need to see if you guys can hear me. Sound is good. Thank you, Nancy Puffin. You're right on time every time. All right, so, okay. We had a great meetup. Talked about a lot of things. We spoke for about an hour before we started the recording. Didn't get to mention everybody in the beginning of the recorded deal because I had totally forgot something we had missed. I did make a necessary correction. I have listened to a video by My Lunch Break. I made that correction in the Archaix community post. So I haven't listened to enough material yet to really know what they're talking about, but I'll look into it. And a lot of you were wondering if there was some type of mystery with how it got cut off. There's no mystery. The venue, when we rented that area before, had its own Wi-Fi, and we weren't given the Wi-Fi pass this time, and we couldn't communicate with them to get it. But all my travels, I always take my little Verizon mobile Wi-Fi, and it's almost unlimited. And I've done many videos from it, and it was crystal clear audio and video. It's that's what I used for 6 hours. Unfortunately, it was plugged into my battery bank, like my laptop. My laptop didn't die; it lasted the whole 6 hours of the broadcast. But I had pressed the power button on the battery bank. I have a huge mobile battery bank that'll for events like that. And I had neglected to push the power for the feed that was going to my mobile Wi-Fi unit. So the mobile Wi-Fi unit lasted 6 hours. Very impressive. But it ran out of juice and ran out. And it's almost as if Spirit directed that, because we instantly started talking about things that are Archaix TV related. Really shouldn't talk on YouTube. It would have made the video more risque. So anyway, the meetups are for the people who come to the meetups. I do the lives because a lot of you are long distance. Some of you are in other nations and countries, and you want to see what we're doing and what we're talking about. Well, now you know. I set up 2 cameras. Next time I may set up 3 cameras so you can see better of what's going on and who's talking. The audio was much better. Now you can hear the actual questions from people. But so such a small enterprise. There's nothing real professional here. I'm just trying to get information out. So we're looking really good. Almost 7 minutes in. We got over 1,700 people listening. That's good. This is a really hot topic right now. It's a real hot topic, but it's a topic that is fraught with a lot of fear porn and a lot of misinformation. And I want to set the record straight on a few items, and I want to bring back to the table some of the things in my first 2 videos that are now beginning to make sense as we couple that data with newly discovered revelations. Thus far, there's still a lot of eclipse videos out there, and people are putting their various twists, and you can tell the ones that are Christian backed. You can really tell, because we're going to talk about that, because they got a lot of narratives in there that are like, wow, man, how did you connect that to this? And it's just really interesting. It's very intriguing seeing how people's frames of references, their programming actually filters this information into something that is substantive and confirmatory to their own beliefs. It's very interesting. But we need to clear the air on the eclipse deal before this gets out of hand. Because there's some information about eclipses in general that are not really well known to the public. It's very interesting. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get all into it right now. I got a few announcements. I did a 2-hour, maybe a little over 2-hour show with Freeman Fly. Freeman Fly, I met him in North Carolina. Some of you know the name. He's an OG. I mean, he was in the generation of David Icke William Cooper, The Unseen Hand, Behold the Pale Horse, The New World Order, when all these books were being published in the mid-90s. And David Icke was just gaining prominence, and Freeman Fly was one of the originals too. And he ended up, Freeman Fly was kicked off. I'm talking about, this is a while back. He was kicked off every platform, almost all the platforms. He went, like so many others, basically created his own niche. He's got his own podcast going. He's interviewed a lot of intriguing people. But I met him at the Crimmies in North Carolina. And we hit it off recently because we didn't really talk back then. He was more he and Don really kicked it off. I was really busy in North Carolina doing other things, and we had met. So we've done a 2-hour video. It's on his podcast. I believe he released it Saturday. For those of you on Archaix TV, I'll be releasing that one on either tonight or tomorrow. This week, Dawn has her hospital visits and stuff, so I'm not really quite sure when that's going to happen, but you're going to get it on Archaix TV with another 2024 meme report. Another news item is I do believe in the next 2, maybe 3 days, I'll be doing another show with David Nino Rodriguez, Nino's Corner.tv. You guys know him. I've been on the show 2 or 3 times. I've been very critical of a lot of his guests because, I'm not cool with the Patriot Pacification Program operatives being so freely available, able to, and we're going to talk about that here too, because it has a lot to do with what's going on in these narratives. Yeah, I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with the, what's going on with that whole genre right there. They've been given a pass so far. I'm telling you, Americans in the future are going to remember these men. They're going to remember these people that have been putting all this information out, and turns out it's all untrue. So anyway, but Neil's all right. He's a fellow Texan, and I've told you guys in the past that I really like him. I'm feeling him, and I think that he's going to end up coming around and realizing, man, some of these guys are full of shit. Some of these guys are not. They're not kosher. Oh, that's a good one. So, any other news I have? So we took care of some raffles. We did 6 raffles in we gave away 6 bags. Every winner, and this wasn't by design. We did the rotisserie machine. I just could not believe that little 12-year-old girl during our lunch break at the meetup got up and she had written a poem about the Phoenix, and wanted to share it with me before she came. And I just told her, I said, well, you got an audience right now. There are thousands of people. By the end of the night, 20,000 people will hear you. And she went to shaking. She said, oh my God, I don't know if I'm ready. I said, right here. There's the camera. We're on our lunch break, but you're still live. The camera's rolling. So she got up there and read her little poem, told me that when she gets older, she's going to have a YouTube channel and she's going to be famous. You know what? I don't doubt it. So, I see you, Vic. We're going to talk about CERN. Yes, we will. Thank you, George. George Abdul. I can't even say it. Abdul Noor. It almost sounds French Arabic or something. Seen you in my chat a lot. Hey, Neanderthal, good meeting you. I met a lot of people that I'd never met before, and then there were several people that showed up that I've seen quite a bit. So we got over 2,000 people listening. I need to go ahead and begin this. Go ahead and I don't want to waste you guys' time on too much of this stuff, but it's a since when? Just think about it. Since when has the public ever been told the truth? If you are still clinging to the belief that NASA sent rockets and men to the moon, you can be made to believe in anything. If you still believe that today and you're on my channel and you're listening to me right now, you can be made to believe anything. Anything. I could come up with all kinds of interesting scenarios, and you'll buy them. All I got to do is produce enough confirmatory evidence, whether it's fact or fiction. You'll believe it, but I'm not going to believe it. And there are many, many people waking up to that psyop because that's what it was. But there was a reason for its necessity. See, the perimeters of our world, they've been explored, and in the 1940s, a terminus was located. An impenetrable barrier that the U.S. military discovered in Antarctica. We can't go past it. We can't go beyond it. So once it was understood that there was a perimeter, a terminus to our world on this plane that we call Earth, and we couldn't go anywhere in 2 dimensions. In 2 dimensions, there is a finite area that we have. We found the perimeter, measured the perimeter. We tested the barrier. U.S. military did this in the 1940s. Many of you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to go into details here. Too many people have already covered all of this material. In the 1950s, U.S. military and other scientists around the world conducted experiments now to see how high this barrier went, and they discovered that as well. By 1957, it was completely confirmed by the military scientists that we were in a containment field. But they didn't release this data to the public. This was all leaked later. Like I said, there are many other sources for this material. You don't have to cite Archaix. I'm not the origin of any of this data. Now, once it was known that the military, to the military scientists that we are confined in a construct, the USA then funded NASA in 1958, created in 1957. It is a massive apparatus of multi-level employment that kept all lower levels from actually understanding and knowing the levels beyond their security clearance. It was set up ingeniously so that thousands of people who answered to hundreds would never really know what those hundreds actually knew. And those hundreds they answered to 40 or 50 people who didn't really understand at all what the 10 or 12 people above them knew. And then it winnowed down to 6, into 3, and ultimately to 1 person who knew what was really going on throughout the entire. This enabled NASA, to employ tens of thousands of Americans who truly believed they were a part of space missions instead of PsyOps. But the astronauts all knew. Their faces show how uncomfortable they were. You've seen the videos. Most of you know what I'm talking about. Every time they were interviewed, they looked sick, uncomfortable. They didn't like the fact that they were lying. There are no astronauts. A man goes to the moon and comes back, he's going to be jubilant. He's done something no one else can do. He's going to be telling you what he found under every single rock, how he tripped, how he fell down and got back up. All these experiences, none of this came from the astronauts. They told us scripts because they never left the ground. Those men stayed quarantined until the capsule was recovered, and those men were on the ship already when they went out there to recover the capsule. It's all PsyOp, guys. The truth is, Russia and other scientists had already studied the moon and determined that its very presence hanging in our sky completely defies all the known laws of physics. There's no way it could be a solid. There are no moons in the entire system as large as our moon in proportion to its parent body. Jupiter has like 27, 28 moons. At least this is what NASA tells us. But compared to the size of Jupiter, the moons are infinitely small. They're so tiny. That is not a moon. It would be a double planet system. because it is so huge. It would be, if it's real, it would be 1/4 the mass of our world. So the level of deception is ubiquitous. It is the sole reason things like Ancient Aliens franchise is so popular and so well funded. It is the reason that the Galactic Federation narratives are promoted. Think about it, guys. They don't ever show any proofs or even things that qualify as evidence. It's multiple different people giving their opinions, hosts asking questions. They're throwing out intriguing artifacts and relics and ancient texts and translations and legends, and none of it is commiserate. None of it actually comports with what they're trying to convey. But it's all nice CGI, good video editing. People act like, because this is a director of some type of institute, and this is a researcher out there in the field, boots on the ground chick who does just because they can put together these high quality productions does not make what they're saying factual. The more you watch these Ancient Aliens videos, the more you see the same thing over and over again, just repackaged. Welcome to a PsyOp, because that's exactly what it is. So these are popular, like Star Trek, Star Wars, Buck Rogers, all these things like that. They perpetuate the idea that we live on a world, not inside a containment field. They promote the idea that space is filled with moons and worlds we can visit, instead of the truth that there is a vast body of water suspended high in the sky, but it is hidden tens of thousands of miles, maybe hundreds of thousands of miles high. It is absolutely hidden by this beautiful, spectacular holo field of luminaries that we call space. So I ask you, why is understanding PsyOps important? And what does it have to do with this eclipse? See, now I'm playing the role of Ancient Aliens. They don't ever tell you anything factual. They just ask you questions. I'm going to tell you, why is knowing about the PsyOps important? Because it shows that much of those who promote NASA in their presentations are fear-mongering, using data 100% from NASA. So there's no one who can use data from anywhere else. There's nowhere to get it. Do you see the problem here? There's a lot of people who have documentaries, made movies. They've got channels on YouTube, BitChute, CloutHub, True Social, and they promote all this stuff about space and all these periodicities of different things. But the problem is everything they present to you comes from one source. And if that one source has already been proven to have lied to you about something major, what do I tell you about the Archaix research? What is a tenet of the Archaix research? If something is true somewhere, it's probably true everywhere. That also goes for coordinates and time. If NASA lied to us about something so vastly epic in 1969, what makes you think anything after that was the truth? This is all relevant to this eclipse, what we're going to divulge in this video about this eclipse. So now, see, we have a lot of data from NASA. We do. I mean, CMEs, the coronal mass ejections, possible X flares, asteroid sightings, trajectories. Yeah, we got orbits. Every supposed fact you hear on these other channels about space is from NASA. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, because I don't speak Hebrew, and I haven't even looked it up in any of my lexicons, but I heard a rumor that NASA may be Hebrew for to deceive. I don't know. I haven't confirmed that. But it sure is mentioned a lot on social media. But I can't take that as a data point. It is a point of interest. Let me look at my chat real quick. How's my chat doing? Yeah, we're going to get into some deep stuff in this video, guys. Thank you for the donations. I appreciate it. I really don't have time to thank you personally and look through my whole feed. All right. I do hear 80s music real loud in the background. Hint, hint. But I don't think you guys can get it because I got a directional mic pointed at me. So I don't think you guys can hear it, but it's pretty loud in here. So, why is it so vital to understand that the sky is holographic and conceals something else, and that NASA was specifically created, funded, and perpetuated to conceal this fact? I'm going to say it again. Why is it so important to understand that the sky is holographic and that NASA was funded and perpetuates the science to get you to believe that it's not holographic and that it's actually real and you're looking into a cosmos that you can explore? Why? Why is it important to understand that this is a psyop, one of the biggest ones ever put over the human race? I'm going to tell you why. Because once you comprehend that the sky is holographic and that we cannot ascend into the sky, it totally changes what the sun actually is. It totally changes what the moon actually is. It totally changes what comets actually are. It absolutely changes what meteorites are, as well as the stars and luminaries themselves. It changes everything. On this channel, Archaix, I have shown here and cited very old books and reports of all the strange things the sun and the moon have done. Odd rains of putrid jellies, gelatinous matter that's been spread all over the ground when people try to go find where a meteorite landed. Yes, guys, for centuries it has been recorded that when a star falls from the sky, people would go to the location where the star hit. They could find it, and they would all gather and they would look at it, and it would be a putrid smelling, greenish, clear, gelatinous matter, and it would be all over the ground and all over the plants. They wouldn't find a rock. They wouldn't find a stone. They would find some weird plasma. I don't know what it was, ectoplasm. If you want to use the parlance of Ghostbusters. Yeah, that's basically what it was, ectoplasm. So it's not surprising to find that the historical record is rife with episodes from blue skies of rotten dead fish that just rained from the sky. Other times the fish were alive, and when they hit the ground, they're flopping around. They've been studied, they've been analyzed, and all the arguments of the uniformitarians has been overturned. So they ignore all these anomalies. And what I mean is uniformitarians would come forward and they would, without even going to research what happened and look at the local area that was affected with, like, a bunch of carp rain down. Well, if it's true that a typhoon or a tornado sucked up a lake or a pond, we need to find the ponds or the lakes that the typhoon sucked up and then deposited all the fish, the carp, right here and rained all the carp here. And we need to figure out why that typhoon or tornado was discriminating and did not suck up the tadpoles, the minnows, the turtles, the toads, the frogs, the crawfish, all the plants, all the other flora and fauna that was in that lake. Why did it only suck out the carp? This has happened over and over and over, where scientists have documented strange rains of biological materials falling from the ground, as if our world is constantly seeded over and over with life forms. So, and they're falling from the sky. So, insects, snake, frogs. Sometimes there have been records. Sometimes chopped up forest animals, as if somebody had just put a bunch of forest animals in a blender and then let them sit for days to putrefy, and then dumped them all over a forest, and it starts a plague. This has been documented as well. See, once you accept the uniformitarian model, space is real, planets, the sun's 93 million miles away, that rock called the moon never turns so we can see the other side. It perfectly, in 28 point something days, goes all the way around our world, making sure, though, we can only see one face. This is the model they've given us. It's absolute crap. It's bullshit. The reason I'm reminding you guys of these things is because it changes what eclipses are. Once you understand that the sky is holographic. We can't go by the uniformitarian models. We can't go by the models that have been proven to us over and over and over to be a lie. If you have to fund a piece of information, billions of dollars, then what you're doing is funding a lie. Because the truth doesn't require any funding. When a truth gets out there and enters the field, it spreads like wildfire. So here we have, let's see. Once you do understand, though, that the sky is not what NASA tells it is, this is when you can wrap your mind around the amazing research in books put out by Charles Fort over a century ago. This is when you can understand the mysteries William Corliss has brought to the table with the Sourcebook Project. Once you understand the sky is holographic, it is not a place we can visit. It is an information field that produces phenomena that we experience inside the construct. You'll get Jacques Vallée. You will understand the writings of John Keel. These pioneers knew that our world is not what you think, but they couldn't risk their academic credentials in actually saying it. So they spent their careers in publishing all the anomalies so you could put it together. Or so Archaix could put it together for you. They did it because these men were champions of the truth. Publishing all the anomalies of the world so that people would understand. Listen, you're not being told the truth about the type of world we live in. Also, I can't omit Trevor James Constable either. Just can't. I got to mention him. So you can then begin to see that aerial phenomena are not UFO craft with alien occupants. You can see that volcanic explosions, earthquakes, tsunamis, geomagnetic storms, extreme weather conditions, skyquakes, they're not random events, but they're generated by a controlled interface between the worlds above us and the worlds below, by unseen and unknown overseers. Call them what the ancients did, the watchers, whatever, Neteru. They govern over our experiences here in the collective. This is all important because it changes what eclipses are. That's what we're going to get into. Check my chat out again. Oh, I see the one tucks. The one tucks are hanging around. They're in New Zealand. They actually came here and visited. Gave me a bunch of great books, too. One who is properly informed is not easily deceived. You are absolutely correct. And once the human mind, once the human mind is stretched by a new idea, it can never go back to its original dimensions. I say that a lot too. It's Oliver Wendell Holmes. Absolutely. That's the truth, guys. It's absolute truth. Oh, the 80s music disappeared. Oh, there's a bunch of Kiwis in here. Hang around, Luna. There's some Kiwis in here. I don't even know if I can come to Australia, Momo. Yeah, that's a country the size of a continent, supposedly, allegedly founded on the premise of a penal colony. Prisoners built it, and yet here I am, an ex-con, and I'm not even allowed in the country. Go figure. Somebody said, Xavier says, do you think astronomers believe what they're studying is real and they know the truth? Astronomy today, for about 99.9% of astronomers, astronomy today is merely textbook knowledge. Less than 0.01% of the actual astronomers in the world have access to the world's 18 or 19 super telescopes that are all over around the world. Yeah. Yeah, the telescopes, guys, it's a psyop. Every bit of it is a psyop. It's all psyop. Yeah, astronomers today, the majority of astronomers today, you use the telescopes that are available to the public to do the deal. They gotta put in for time. They gotta get clearance in order to spend time, and then they have to have clearance on what they're going to be observing. Then they only have specified times they're allowed to do the observing. It is astronomy using the observatories is absolutely controlled. Astronomy isn't what you think it is. It's a whole bunch of book work, things that and 100% of all the data that astronomers use and come to believe is published by NASA. It's all from NASA. So, or it all goes through NASA filters before they see it. Yeah, man, astronomy is a dead science. It's absolutely dead. It's 100% controlled. It's crazy. All right. Let's see here. Somebody blowing up my. So, in order to put things into perspective, we're not going to draw this video out longer than it needs to be. But in order to put things into perspective, we need to revisit very, very quickly what Archaix has brought to the table so far. What is unfolding in our world right now? So we can understand and put this eclipse scenario into its proper context before it happens. So you guys know that the very first week of March is when the new Olympiad began. An Olympiad is an ancient system of timekeeping based off 4-year intervals. The Olympiad was in honor of the Olympians. These are the elite gods of ancient Greece, Achaia, all that. So the 2024 Olympiad actually began in the first week of March. February ended 2023. All of our calendar systems today are off by a little over 2 months. This is why the names of the months are very different. So I've already brought to the table and showed you guys the elite are doing rituals at these gigantic ceremonies. NFL halftime shows, but mainly Olympic ceremonies. The pre-games and post-game ceremonies for the Olympics are ritualistic, and I don't know if they're predictive or if they're causal. That remains to be seen. But you guys know before the COVID deal broke out in 2012 at the Olympic opening and closing ceremonies, they showed a whole scenario of the world being falling prey to a sickness, and everybody in hospital beds. And they even had little people dressed as germs running around doing different stuff while this idiot, you guys know who he is, was on a truther bus, and his job was to take the truthers in circles. That was his job. Make sure he's the narrative spinner. He was on the bus, and all the free thinkers, symbolized by all the different clothes that they were wearing, were at the windows of the bus, just going in circles, being led by this Pied Piper. So his name is Russell Brand. It's 2012. Russell Brand played that role in the Olympic ceremony. So you guys know that it is my educated opinion, based off all the material that I've revealed to you from the Greek, that Apollo Pharmakeia in 2020 attacked the human race using the medical establishment, and that this was the beginning of a sacrificial period that is necessary for the elite to open up a gate to release Apollyon, which is the story of the Greek text of the book of Revelation, the apocalypse, the whole tribulation deal. This is what Revelation is about. It is the release of Apollyon. Showed you guys that the Statue of Liberty is not a female. It is Apollo, and that the ankles are chained, showing that this has been known by whoever the mover and shakers of this world are for a very long time. It was very understood. I've shown you the chronometry, how there are 168 steps leading up to the torch in the Statue of Liberty, and from the very construction of the Statue of Liberty being erected in the harbor outside New York, counts 168 years perfectly to 2052, when liberty will be taken from the earth. This may be when Apollo comes. I don't know, but I've showed you other data sets where that's the exact year that the dark satellite returns. I've showed you the research of Charles Burgoyne from the 1880s, where he gives us the traditions of the dark satellite and claims that the dark satellite has repeatedly visited our world, but its occupants are imprisoned until a future date. A future date when that object will come very close to us. And when that happens, they will be released. These are the 7 ancient ones. The book of Revelation shows us that there were 7 kings, but then it names and identifies an 8th. Then it tells you the 8th is one of the 7. He just never finished his reign. So he comes back in the end times to finish his reign, to initiate a beast kingdom, and is supported by a false prophet and an antichrist. Well, the Sumerian king list literally tells the story as well. There were 7 kings, and as soon as the 8th one began his reign, it was cut off with the great flood. So these kings, whatever they were imprisoned. And they were imprisoned for a period, according to the book of Enoch, 42 generations. Now, these wouldn't be Hebrew generations of 40 years. They would be something else for a different type of people. Someone not using the septenary system of the Hebrews, but using maybe a sexagesimal system. So, in all this material, I've shown that Apollo Pharmakeia ruled the first Olympiad. The first 4 years were under the dominion of Apollo Pharmakeia, where through bewitchery and witchcraft, the toxins of the arrows of Apollo shot from people wearing white, who identify themselves as servants of Pharmakeia, pharmacies, would poison the human family, and that Apollo was married to Coronis, and that Apollo was also given a corona on his head, which is the same word for crown, showing you that Pharmakeia was a goddess who guarded a poison well, that the bow that was used was called, it's essentially called toxon in Greek. And when you put these things together, we find out that the Judeo-Christian interpretation of the breaking of the 7 seals would have never discovered this. You can only find this out by decoding the book of Revelation in the very language that it was written, which is Greek. So looking at the Greek stories of Apollo and all that. So anyway, Apollo Pharmakeia becomes Apollo Helios. Once he becomes Apollo Helios, that's when he has these spikes, like the Liberty spikes. Depictions of Apollo Helios has Apollo driving the 4-horse chariot of the sun. The second Olympiad, the second seal, is all about Apollo continuing his attack against the human family, increasing the sacrifice, but now using the sun to do it. So these are things I've showed in prior videos. These are not things we're going into here, but I'm providing context to what we're going to discuss about this eclipse. So I've also spent a lot of time showing you that in my 2 prior eclipse videos, I did not see what others saw. I see a lot of attention being attributed to earthquakes, New Madrid, and all that. And all that's fine, because all throughout the history of the world, as I've shown, Pliny the Elder 2,000 years ago even agreed to it, that there is a correlate between earthquakes and eclipses, but it's usually that the earthquake happens later. It could be 6 days, it could be 6 weeks, it could be 6 months later, but there's a guarantee that that major earthquakes do follow major eclipses. So that's not even a mystery to me. But what was mysterious were 2 data sets that I found that I don't see anybody else talking about. And one of them was that the eclipse dates are mathematically connected to the Purge movie franchise release dates of those movies. The reason I feel this is important is because Hollywood is ritual. Hollywood is scripted. None of this is accidental. The other data set, which produced a whole different video, is the fact that in the Archaix analysis, it was shown that the eclipse date of April 8th coming up, as well as the 2017 eclipse and the eclipse date in the middle of them in 2014, what was it, 2020, all 3 of those dates are mathematically intrinsically connected to Pfizer, COVID-19, and the rollout of the vaccine. So these 2 data sets are inescapable, and they have a lot to do with what we're going to talk about right here in this video. So another thing we've been following and may have a lot to do with what we're talking about, because everything's on the table at this point. But the rise of the Christian Reich is something that I took a lot of flack for 3.5 years ago when I released my predictions videos. And in the middle of COVID, in the middle of the pandemic, in the middle of the lockdowns, in the middle of the travel restrictions, in the middle of the mask mandates, I was telling everybody in my predictions videos that this is temporary. It's going to end within 18 months. This is all going to be past. COVID may continue and all that, but all these restrictions are going to be lifted. It's not the new normal. Across YouTube, everybody's talking about the new normal. I'm going in the opposite direction. At the same time, those same predictions videos told you guys, watch out. 2 things are going to happen in the near future. One of them is the rise of anti-Semitism. There's going to be a massive amount of focus on Jews and on Jewish activities. Nobody believed me then. They said, now you can't even talk about the Jews online. You can't even say anything about them without getting in trouble. But I said this is in my predictions videos. I said at the same time this happens, there's going to be the rise of Christian conservatism in America. Christians have been suppressed for 30 or 40 years in politics and in culture and everything. And now all of a sudden, in the last 1.5 to 2 years, all of a sudden the focus in American government, focuses in American media, Christianity is rising, but it's not the same Christianity. It's something darker. But I told you a Christian Reich is coming. This too must be taken into consideration. It must be taken into consideration of of the events that are unfolding. Also, we have a lot of disclosure now about people reporting. Now, this was also mainstream media, not just the alt media, but a lot of people reporting that the elite are building bunkers. That's There's a lot of people reporting that there's going to be a major earthquake, volcanoes, the eclipse is going to do all this, and this is the reason why. But I'm telling you now, it's not the reason why they're building bunkers. All my Archaix veterans already know. 4 years ago, my very first YouTube video was about the elite building bunkers and why they were building them. It's for an event they know is coming in the month of May of 2040. But they know that they need to hunker down and be underground and hermetically sealed in a few years before that. This is all old news. Anybody new to my channel, this is all old news for a lot of people who've been on my channel for a long time. The massive amount of data that I have brought to the table showing all this it's very convincing. But it's equally easy to dismiss it all if you haven't reviewed that material because it's so outlandish. How could anybody be able to predict not only the year, but the month that something like this was going to happen? Yeah, well, if you saw my 3 published books on the Phoenix phenomenon or watched my 80-something videos on it, then you would understand. Until that time, until you catch up, you'll just have to take the word of my Archaix veterans in the chat because they'll tell you I am one of the most fact-checked channels in existence. Believe that. Every single day I'm getting emails of people asking me for this source, that source. And I'm telling you now, I've met every challenge, every single one of them. So let's move on before we discuss this eclipse. See. All right. So another thing I brought to the table, you guys know the Massini plan. I told you about the Massini plan. It's been known for a long time. It's been published widely. A lot of people know about it. Massini plan is very interesting. World War I came to pass exactly like the letter of Massini to Albert Pike, 33-degree Mason, said it would. They completely took over the Christian empire of the Romanovs of Russia, and they turned it into an atheist state, exterminated 22 million Christians, and then used it in the Cold War against the United States. Now, World War I came to pass exactly as planned. World War II did too. They wanted to take down the Germans. They wanted to basically enslave the German race. Germans are still paying reparations. Yeah, that worked as well. World War II worked as well. So World War III hasn't happened yet. But is it being staged? In the Massini plan, World War III is very clear. The Zionists are going to use fundamentalist Christian Reich of the West, going to use their armies to fight their enemies, Islam. But in so doing, the true movers and the shakers of this world are going to create a situation. And in that situation, something else is going to develop. What's going to develop is that Islam and Christianity, after already beating the crap out of each other for a while, will turn on international Zionism and eliminate them. I've told you guys in the past that the Zionists are the latest edition of the elite, and that the older elite families that are still in our world resent them. But through the Rothschild international banking cartel, they were able to muscle their way in. But the older elite families have always had a plan to deal with this. And a lot of the news events around the world will begin to make sense to you when you realize that these are power plays unfolding. And that all these other things are just psyops to muddle the waters of what's really going on, like the Patriot Pacification Program. So having just given you a very concise, abbreviated list of all the findings of Archaix released on this channel, it's This is the background to what we're seeing unfold right now in the world, not just in the United States, but in the world. This is just the background. So for a long time, I've told you guys, really, I do not care about the, I just don't care. When YouTube decides to cancel my channel, so be it. I'm going to reappear elsewhere. I have so many 4 terabyte drives that are full of almost 750 videos now. I'm not worried about it. They'll be distributed. I just don't care anymore. And I also tell you guys all the time, I know for a fact that we have a benefactor. I know for a fact that there is a force operative in this world that works also for the people. This is why all the psyops are necessary. There wouldn't be no way to enslave you in the corporal if there wasn't a way first to enslave you by agreement. Remember, this is a contract-based reality. Once you sign the contract, as many people in Hollywood have recently found out, once you sign the contract, it's over. You are owned. And if you refuse to play ball, you get exposed. This is what Epstein Island was all about. This is what all this stuff with Cat Williams exposing people and telling the truth about what all these people did. This is what's going on in the rap industry right now with all these people that were popular in the 90s and 80s. Listen, if you signed the contract, then you were made to play ball. If you played ball, then they got some real good shit on you. And you have to continue to play ball. This is why the suicide rate for Hollywood actors and actresses is disproportionately high compared to everyone else. Do some homework, guys. It'll blow your mind how many suicides have come straight out of Hollywood. Yeah, this is why this blackmailing is going on everywhere. Let me, you know what? I'm going to show you guys an example of an intelligence trap because they've laid them for me before. And I'm not going to, I tell you guys, it's another tenet of Archaix research. I'm not going to just tell you something. I'm going to show it to you. Let me show you an intelligence trap. And I know they're probably watching right now because they very cleverly laid this trap out for me and it's on YouTube. I'm going to show it to you right now. Let me share my screen. I'm going to show you what an intelligence trap is and how they work. This is how they got all the people in Hollywood. This is how they get major sports actors to do their political stuff. This is how they get their NFL players to catch a knee, even though some of them don't want to do that shit and they're taking flack for it. This is how they get it. This is how they get these blue-eyed, blonde-hair actresses who have no inclination whatsoever in the past of ever having kids, all of a sudden adopting 9 multicultural babies. It's all a part of their contract. They will do whatever they're told to do. So if they've signed the contract. Yes, I agree, Johnny. I do agree. I don't know if most suicides are. I believe some of those suicides are very genuine because they realize what they got themselves into. I do not think that Robin Williams, somebody even mentioned him. I don't think that Robin Williams was the same ever after he was forced to do Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't think, that's one of their humiliation deals. You guys know, Cat Williams exposed all that in the black community, but it's also true of the white community as well. That's exactly true. They force them. You know what I mean? You're going to play a major role where you have to be a female. So anyway, I don't want to get off into that. It's not, other channels have already covered all this. It's not what I want to talk about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you in real time right now an intelligence trap that was laid out for me. Personally, Jason, I'm going to show you right now. Let me share my screen. I'm going to go to YouTube and I'm going to show you one right now. Let me get rid of this, remove this from studio, present. I got to talk out loud just to make sure I don't mess up. Share screen. Yeah. And you know what? I don't hate them for the trap. I don't hate them for this trap at all. I'm sharing my screen. I don't hate them for this trap. It's just something that, they They're paid to do. Their supervisors, employers pay them to do it. They want Jason on the team. That's all. Here it is. Look, guys, I'm going straight to you. I'm going straight to YouTube. I'm in YouTube now. All right. Once I get into YouTube, I'm going to my channel. I'm going in my, here's my studio. This is my YouTube studio. It tells me all the inside information about my channel right here. This is all inside information on my channel. I'm going to the bottom right here to subscribers. You see this on the bottom. Subscribe. I can't blow it up for you. But right here, this is recent activity. I'm going to subscribers. When I go to subscribers, it shows me a list. In the last 90 days, here are those who subscribed to my channel last 90 days. Certified Health Nut, 135,000 subscribers. Social Experimentalist, 59.8 thousand subscribers. Mystical Lady. I might need to reach out to some of these people. I haven't even really thought about talking to these people. But you know what? There might be some real good channels to network with. But that's not my point. Here's my point. I'm going to go up here, not last 90 days. I'm going to go into the last 365 days. Right here. At the top is Haley Harbor, 163,000 subscribers. You tell me your opinion if this is a trap or not, or if Jason's just being paranoid. I'm not being paranoid because I don't even care. But we're going to click on to Haley Harbor and see what we see. Because 163,000 subscribers subscribed to my channel should have got my attention. But I didn't bite. Here it is, Haley Harbor. So I go to Haley Harbor's page. That voice just grates my soul. I can't even stand that voice. But that's Haley Harbor. She's body painting ass naked. All right? That's not why it's a trap, though. She has 163,000 subscribers, but only 16 videos. So I do a little homework. I look at her deal. So, okay, her channel is to advertise OnlyFans. I get it. She has no videos, only 2 shorts, no playlists. I've been through all this. This video was released 1 month ago, but it's an older video that was re-uploaded. It's down here too. Here's Haley Harbor. Right here, same video. Her channel was 5 and 4 years ago. It is my theory, and I'm going to show it to you. It is my theory that this girl, Haley Harbor, sold her YouTube channel to somebody else. If you look up her YouTube information, all it gives is an OnlyFans deal and that I body paint for fun. OnlyFans Instagram. So go to her OnlyFans right here. Remember, I'm broadcasting out of Texas. This is a wild Texan blondie with an even wilder side. This is OnlyFans. Everything's locked. If I was subscribed to her, it'd all be unlocked and I could see it. But I can't see anything because I'm not subscribed to her. I'm not going to subscribe to her. 1, I have no interest in it. And 2, it's a trap. Subscribing to Haley Harbor and interacting in this with whoever's on the other side, recording all these interactions, they would have all kinds of dirt on me. This is the intent of the trap. If you think I'm being paranoid of such an unusual channel subscribing to me that has no videos, all the videos have been removed except just a few, and a link to OnlyFans. If you think I'm being paranoid, maybe you want to look at this homepage a little bit closer. Look at it just a little bit closer. I can't blow it up, but you can screenshot it and blow it up. Right there in the middle. Remember, she does body paint right there, but right there in the middle, in reverse, as if it takes a mirror to read it, so it wouldn't be so obvious. My name is in black and red across her breasts, right there in the middle. You're entitled to your opinions, guys, that I might be, but this isn't the first trap that was laid out for me. Yeah. Just something interesting to show you guys. These are real. If I became a participant, they would own me. Simple as that. Let me get out of there. It's crazy. It's crazy, guys. That's not the first trap they laid for me. That's just one that's easy for me to show you guys. Oh, I didn't even show you the other thing. Well, you can look up Haley Harbor yourself, but I totally forgot to show you the other thing. It says that she's a wild Texan girl. But if you look up her YouTube channel on the bottom, it specifically says Monaco. Well, Monaco is a small, tiny country that is absolutely packed with intelligence assets right there on the edge of Italy. Vatican's not far away. Yeah. Now, that YouTube channel is owned by somebody in Monaco, outside of Italy, not Texas. It's a trap, guys. It's a trap. All right, see my chat. So when I tell you guys about these, that the truther community is absolutely packed full of intelligence assets, I'm not lying to you. It's just a fact. I believe some of the emails I've gotten were from intelligence agencies for the very simple fact is they try to get me to hate on other channels. But I always let that shit just go off of me. I don't care. I don't give a damn about the dirt you tell me about this person. One, I can't verify it. Two, it's none of my business. You guys are talking to an ex-con. I don't get in other people's business. It's not my business. All I really know how to do is take care of my business if you get in mine. Other than that, I don't care about other people's dirt. It doesn't mean anything to me at all. Yeah, I don't even know. No, I didn't say Monaco was in Italy. I did not say that, VidSec. I said Monaco is right outside of Italy. But anyway, yeah. It's just crazy, guys. Crazy world. I just wanted to share that with you real quick. Just to let you guys know. Oh, there it is again. Okay. I'm still here. I didn't realize I'm still here, but I'm not sharing the screen no more. That's what it is. All right. I got rid of that. That's just crazy, guys. I don't know why all these agencies are always trying to mess with me anyway. For what? All I want to do is debate Graham Hancock. I'll be happy. Give me my debate. Let me throw my data out there. Let me show the world, okay, Atlantis is completely wrong, man. Y'all are tripping. Give me my debate, Billy Carson. Shoot. You got to worry about me no more. I got what I set out to do. Yeah, it's all crazy, man. It's all crazy. Okay. Yeah, guys, I get traps in packages. I get traps in mails. I have been invited, all expenses paid, to some really obscure places. I'm not making that up. People have invited me, pay for my airfare, pay for my hotels to go to these obscure places. But I'm not going to get caught in Thailand. I'm not going to Thailand. Why do I hear about truthers in Thailand? Why do I hear about all these truthers trying to go and build little communities in Morocco? What for? Every person that I've met from Morocco was trying to scam somebody. Oh, man, no, I'm not doing it. No. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Just crazy. So anyway, that's why I believe we have a benefactor. I believe that we have a benefactor. It's not all doom because we are openly talking about things. Disclosure is allowed to a limited degree. It is. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, we had a good time this weekend. But we need to get into this eclipse. Running my mouth too much. So you have to understand, guys, think tanks and computer simulations have already anticipated the public, basically the public reaction, the response to events that occur. So these psyops and these false flags and all that, it's almost as if and follow this for a minute. It's almost as if we are being specifically educated by the very fact that so much disclosure is happening among the community. Government doesn't come out and tell us that was a PSYOP, but allowing us to talk about it so much, people put the details together and we all agree, okay, you know what? None of that makes sense. 9/11 was not only a PSYOP, we pretty much know who all the players were and what really happened. We know, it's not the official government version. We got it. We know about Sandy Hook. We know about all of them. We know about the Boston Marathon deal. We know about the 7 astronauts that were supposed to have died on the space shuttle. And pretty much, I mean, it goes deeper and deeper and deeper, guys. It goes. And there's a lot of people out there that know about the Koresh compound and what really happened. So these things happen over and over and over. I learned about the Las Vegas shooting. Wasn't even what I thought it was. Somebody else had educated me, but it makes sense from what I heard. So we're told many things. Remember, these think tanks and these computer scientists, they run these simulations to see what's going to work and how the public is going to respond to different things. So listen, do you think it's unusual that all of a sudden, not that CERN would kick up, it's not unusual to me that CERN would decide on the eclipse day to go ahead and crank up. That's not unusual to me. What is unusual to me is that it would be disclosed to the public. If the sky isn't what we think it is, if NASA has been caught lying over and over and over, if the sun isn't really what we think it is, if the moon's identity isn't what we have ever imagined before, and everything else has been deceit, telling us that CERN is going to activate seems to me to be more PSYOP than the very fact that CERN is going to be activated on the eclipse date. It's the disclosure that seems to be a part of the plan and not the actual CERN's activation having anything to do with anything. So it's widely publicized that NASA is going to launch rockets at the eclipse. Potential distraction, like CERN, potential distraction. The NASA rockets are called APEP. You guys have learned this. I'm not telling you anything new, but I will tell you something that you probably haven't heard before. You have heard that the ancient Egyptian APEP was the serpent of darkness. You probably have heard that it was also the serpent of chaos. But APEP is not among the old writings of Egypt. APEP is not in the old texts of Egypt. APEP appears and is all over the coffin texts. That may be relevant. So we have disclosure about disease X. How many of you heard about disease X? Disease X, well, you got to watch out, disease X. And wasn't it Bill Gates that was just so confident that, oh yeah, well, the next pandemic's going to be worse than the first one? How do you know? Your dumbass ain't even a doctor. It's all PSYOP. So we have it impregnated into the collective unconscious of humanity to now fear disease X when the collective unconscious of humanity is bifurcated into those who believe that COVID was real and those who believe that it wasn't. And those who believe that it wasn't real are still splintered into believing in multiple different scenarios as to what it could have actually been, because there was an increase in the death toll. But then some of those realized that the increase in the death toll had nothing to do with COVID because it was the coronavirus, and the coronavirus was on the back of Lysol batteries, and you got all your information wrong. And then those who have really done a deep dive realized that no one really died of coronavirus, and everything was attached to the vaccine. So, if all this information is being pumped out into the field, and the truth is out there for those who want to hear it, is disease X even real? And why would the media resurrect that storyline so much in a backfield that's all basically of hurried activity about the eclipse? We can't not mention the very fact that for 25 to 35 years, we have steadily been groomed to accept that an alien invasion scenario is going to unfold. Again, a bifurcation in the collective unconscious. You got people believing the aliens are real, the invasion's real, and it's coming. And then you got the others believing that it's just a psyop. But it's on the table. So in considering all these scenarios, it's very interesting to me that so many people have made so many connections to the eclipse, but alien invasion hasn't been one. It's hardly ever talked. It's hardly even associated to this phenomenon. Religionists have associated everything: rapture, resurrection, appearance of Jesus, all kinds of things. But alien invasion seems to have drifted off into the back. To me, that's a red flag. That's something that I notice instantly. Remember, it's the lacuna in a text that often gives away the importance of the content. A lacuna is a missing fragment, something that was so important later translators didn't include it, or it wasn't translated, or the lacuna may be filled with the writings of a language far older than the text itself. This is what we find in old Babylonian Amorite syllabaries. We find that the Amorites were trying to understand Sumerian and often had to leave Akkadian words left untranslated in the text. They later became lacunas because the Babylonian and the Ugaritic translators really didn't understand what it was. So they did our equivalent of the ellipsis ... to show that something is supposed to be here, but we don't know what. So this these lacunas, this is a lacuna. It's a missing piece because the alt media has pumped out all kinds of eclipse scenarios, and then mainstream media is participating, and that's a red flag. Mainstream media is a full participant in the eclipse hype. So, but in all these narratives being shot out there, alien invasion is one that's like fallen to the wayside temporarily. That's a red flag. It's got me thinking. So another thing that's been promoted heavily lately with the eclipse is an increase in CME activity. These are coronal mass ejections. If you want to know about them, he's going to report them all. Ben Davidson. On a personal level, he's got a great personality. I like him. I've had him on my channel. From a professional standpoint, 100% of his information is from NASA, and therefore, you already know I'm a simulationist. I can't buy it. I don't buy it. So here we have this steady fear pumping of these CMEs. 100% of CME trajectoral analysis, imagery, every bit of this data, 100% comes from NASA. So we have all this fear mongering about something in the sky that can do us harm. It's called CMEs. I'm not saying that CMEs even exist, because I'm not saying the sun is what they tell us it is. So I'm just saying that the narrative is already in place for us to be harmed by something in the sky. The narrative is already there. Again, zombie apocalypse disclosure. Mainstream media has participated in this. This isn't just alt media. Alt media is rife with all that. Mainstream media has participated in this. And I don't know if all these events are so true. I mean, we know of the event in 1599 when Quinn's Tavern got wiped out by something that fell out the sky, made a big old hole, and then a green mist and gas infected a bunch of people, and they started eating each other. And it got so bad Shakespeare was a witness to this. It got so bad that the people of London had to take the infected because they stabbed them, they hacked at them. Yeah, they bludgeoned them, and they still wouldn't stop trying to bite people. They were maddened with hunger and rage. They're out of their mind. So everybody had to grab their arms and legs and hold them above the air and take them to the city guillotine. The only way to stop them was to cut their heads off. It's the year 1599. I don't know if it's true, but supposedly, I wasn't there, but supposedly, the New Madrid earthquakes in 1811 and 1812, people lost their minds in a similar fashion. The earthquakes were unusual. They lasted over 5 years. So, well, tremors did. The actual earthquakes were 5 months. They just over and over and over. It was hard to rebuild until all the episode was done. But they say people lost their mind. There's even accounts of cannibalism. I don't know. I wasn't there. But it's very unusual because the distance in time between 1599, when Shakespeare was at a play in the New Hall in London with about 3,000 people, and then the zombie episode outbreak came, that was 212.5 years to the New Madrid quakes in December of 1811, in January of 1812. And if you add another 212.5 years, of course, you get 2024. But I don't know when in 2024. We'd have to actually sit down and do that on paper. So it is interesting. But again, it's all narrative. We don't know if it's really real or not. If the sky's not real, and the sun and the moon aren't what we were told they were, then we need to be careful with what data that we take into consideration. So as all these events are unfolding right now, and there's a lot, we now have another injection into the collective unconscious of all the participants in our reality. And that is, we now have this new weird thing where the media is promoting the idea that there is a condition, a disease, and that you're the one that suffers this disease if you suddenly start seeing other people's faces change forms and look a little demonic. Now, you can go where you want with that piece of information, but that was recently introduced into the field, that there is a disease and that you're the one that has it if you see other people's faces like demons. Okay. That's some Randy Rowdy Piper stuff right there. I don't know, but it's been introduced into the field. And we're dealing with PsyOps that have many tentacles, and that some of these branches started a long time ago. I'm going to have to interject real quick because I need you guys to be on the same page as me. This is a Roko's Basilisk scenario. All right? I can't get around the fact that the first time in my life I ever watched this music video, what I saw in this music video seems to be laden with messages that are meant to be interpreted at a future date. You guys know what I'm talking about. Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden. I just saw it for the first time in my life like 3-4 days ago. I had to sit down and just process that. And after I was done processing it, then I started talking to people about it. It's like, man, I haven't talked about it with Big John for a while. And what I saw in that music video, in the lyrics to the song. So I just kind of shelved that when then in my own YouTube feed, I'm not even looking for prediction videos. In my own YouTube feed, I'm gonna tell you what I was looking for. I was looking for an "In This Moment" song, and I couldn't find it. But I can't remember the title. So I was looking for "In This Moment," see if they had a channel where I could go find the actual song. But anyway, song I heard in the past. And instead, I come on a Simpsons prediction video, this big black hole this black hole that appears. I think it was CERN. It showed the particle collider in Simpsons cartoon. They showed CERN did something and it created a little black hole. And Lisa kept the black hole as a pet. And then Bart saw the potential to make some money, and he had everybody in the neighborhood throwing all their trash into the black hole. The black hole just got bigger and bigger, and it ate up the town. And then the black hole appeared in the sky. And once it appeared in the sky, it started sucking people into the sky. So I'm watching this because the guy in the video shows something in the background that shows 2024. I'm like, wow. I said, wow, okay. I'm not saying that a black hole is going to appear in the sky. That's not where I'm going with this. I'm saying it was in the Simpsons predictions video. So here's a whole weird twist on the whole rapture cult deal. Yeah, rapture, Christians believe that, you got pre-tribulation Christians believe that before the tribulation of those days, rapture is going to occur. They're going to be taken up into the sky like Elijah and like Enoch and Elijah to be taken up into the sky. Okay, to me, that's pretty horrifying. That's pretty horrifying, because to be taken up into the sky means it involves activity with your avatar. And to me, the eternal would never do anything in the spiritual that will involve your physical avatar, because your avatar belongs to the construct. Yeah, we're immortal beings inside a husk. This husk belongs to the construct. There's no reason for your body to go up into the sky unless something terrible is happening. So I'm gonna have to miss that rapture, guys. Y'all can go. I'm not doing it. But this is what religion does. Remember, religion is from Latin words, re and legio, which means to bind again. It's just another type of dungeon programming. It allows you to process data in certain ways through certain filters. So it's a mind trap. That's what it is. You want to know what a soul trap is? It's called religion. Yeah, that's what a soul trap is. So religion, it imprisons the mind into a filter that can be easily manipulated. All it takes is a tailored and an unpredictable psyop to create an event that will trigger all those of a particular faith. It's that easy. It's that easy. Once you get a whole collective all believing the same fundamentals, once they all agree that these things are all axiomatic and they're all true, they become true to those people, and it begins to govern the very way they process information. Then a carefully tailored psyop can then get those people to do anything, such as when they round up whole peoples full of neighborhoods, it's those religious fanatics that will be right there hitting the levers, chopping people's heads off, and they'll be thinking they're doing God's service, because everybody they're killing are not like them. You don't believe in God, you need to die. You believe in a different God, Allah, you need to die. Yeah, this is exactly what religion does. It poisons the mind, allowing for an outsider to exercise control. So, I'm running my mouth. I need to check my chat. Check my chat real quick, make sure I'm still going good. Yeah, man, that black hole sun, that black hole sun video is so disturbing. It even has the people's turning into demon faces. It's crazy. All the news items that are popular today. I'm not saying the reality. I'm saying all the potentia, all the things that people are claiming might happen are all wrapped up in one video. Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But it's not so crazy from the perspective of an awareness that Roko's basilisk may indeed be a real phenomenon. All right, checking my chat. Thank you, moderators. I know you guys are busy. Jeff Stout, my brother. Guys, I'm putting him on blast right now. Jeff Stout is in the chat. Jeff Stout and I, in the 3rd or 4th grade, did a skit together in front of the whole class. After that, we became best of buds. And in my darker teenage days, Mr. Stout even hid me from the police. Didn't work, though. It doesn't necessarily work when you write a full statement against yourself and turn yourself in and all that. It just doesn't really work. But he tried to hide me. Jeff Stout, man. Hope things are going well. And I still do plan on coming to Hawaii. I just don't know when. Hey, Jamie. All right, we need to continue on. I'm going somewhere with this. So, PsyOps saturation is absolutely designed to promote a mass anticlimactic sentiment among the population. It's a control measure. Let me give you an example. Anticlimactic, meaning PsyOps saturation is when so many narratives are released into the public. We are saturated. We have no idea what to believe. We have no idea what's going on. And every bit of that is by design. It's by design. Having so many theories out there with so much confirmatory evidence. I'm talking about this pops up. This guy gets this letter from some secret person who doesn't want to be revealed that claims to be an insider, and they read it on YouTube. Then two or three people listening to that come up with their own theory and spin on it, thinking that's real information, put their video together. But the secondary videos confirm a guy over here who just had a hunch based off something over here. And this is how all these things are put together. And they're not even true. But this is what intelligence agencies are genius at. This is what they do. If it's even intelligence agencies that are doing it. We're talking about a basilisk. So, anticlimactic sentiment among the population. This is key. It's key to understanding the why. That's what you guys like to ask me all the time. Why? Why would they lie about World War II? Why would they lie about the Civil War? Why would they lie about the Phoenix? Why would they tell us all these things? Why would they lie about ancient aliens? Why would they lie about the date of Atlantis? And I'm always telling you why. With hardcore data. And I'm going to tell you why right now. Why the mass amounts of narratives that are being released into the field. That's what this video is about, the why. One reason is because the buildup of all the narratives, all the expectation, the participation from alt media, participation from mainstream media, the participation from manifold municipalities, because that's what's happening right now. I'm about to read some to you. Full participation from different echelons of society and culture. And then the event passes by. It's just an eclipse. It goes by just fine. And it leaves this anticlimactic sentiment, which is the intent all along. This is like feeling empty, scraped out, and hollow, that we can't trust our senses anymore, that we can't separate fact from fiction anymore. It grooms the population into now becoming more to protecting themselves more from any information that just can't outright be proven. It allows for those who are acting against the interest of the population to then begin doing things, because now the public is reticent and they don't want to entertain anything more. It's like the boy who cried wolf. This is a psychological info war that we're experiencing right now. But we're far from done with this video. So how is mainstream media participating? Unlike other psyops in the past that involve alt media, conspiracy theorists and stuff, Mainstream media is participating in the whole eclipse narrative, suggesting that people stock up for a few weeks worth of food and water. Isn't that interesting? Government is always trying to tell you not to do that. They're always trying to talk bad about preppers. Have they not unleashed a bunch of legislation all across the world against keeping food and keeping water storage and all that? This is what's been going on. So why all of a sudden stock up on a few weeks of food and water? Why? Total reversal because of this eclipse, this grand scare coming on. This is psychological warfare, guys. If nothing happens, then people will just absolutely quit stocking up on food and water and being prepared. This is the intent behind an anticlimactic event. They're also warning of interruptions of police and emergency response team services. So, mainstream media is participating by telling the public that, look, guys, be warned, there may be interruptions of police and emergency response team services. On the other side of that coin, on the obverse, you're basically telling the criminal element there's going to be a period of time when you have carte blanche to do what you want to do because there's no cops coming to save anybody. Now, my own personal take is every bit of this is true, but not for April 8th. So, mainstream media is also saying preparations for communication disruptions. Be prepared for your cell phones to not work. So, again, I'm agreeing that could happen for a lot of people depending upon geographically where they are. Mainstream media is doing that, though. Mainstream media is also basically telling us what the municipal governments have decided. School and business closures all over the nation, even ones that aren't even in that eclipse path. What the hell? Increasing the energy in the field of the expectation of the event. Schools and businesses. In the past eclipses, yeah, schools were still in effect, businesses were open, and people were doing what they needed to do. Yeah. So federal and municipal authorities are preparing for a possible biohazard event. Interesting. That's interesting. Mainstream media is telling us this, that all these local governments throughout the United States are getting ready for a possible biohazard event. Interesting. Remember, guys, I've told you many times in the past, when real events occur that affect the field and affect a lot of personalities in the field, they're never predicted. They happen with rapidity and they're totally unexpected. Totally unexpected. Yeah, 9/11's totally unexpected. Mount St. Helens, totally unexpected. Tsunami in 2014 wiped out a bunch of Japan, totally unexpected. So tsunami in Indonesia, totally unexpected. Tropical storms that suddenly turned into Cat 5 hurricanes and wash away Louisiana, totally unexpected. So, it's just weird how mainstream media is a full participant in building the expectation in the field of this event. So, it is interesting that all of the scenarios playing out and promoted, all of a sudden, the vast array. Check this out, guys. Remember the other one. The other one was alien invasion. Alien invasion doesn't seem to be promoted by anybody now, although it's been on the table 20 years. We've all been talking about it. They're going to pull the alien card. They're going to pull the alien card sooner or later. Now, all of a sudden, there's just radio silence on that. And all these other narratives are being promoted. But there's something else, too, that's also in the field, but it's very quiet. No one's really talking about it. But to me, it's probably one of the most important. And why? Because my 2 eclipse videos are showing something completely different than everybody else. It's showing all these dates of the eclipse are mathematically perfectly connected to this Purge franchise movie and what that was really about, and COVID-19, the vax, and Pfizer specifically, and the Chesterfield Pfizer manufacturing plant. So this one element is not in the field right now. Nobody's really talking about it and associating it to the eclipse. And that is the fact that there is now in place and completely finished, which took them 4 years to do it, maybe longer, but in place right now is a vast 5G tower network everywhere. We don't even have any evidence that the one that's been sitting up everywhere has really been used yet, if it's really been fully activated yet. Just something that's been on my mind, because what I found out about April 8th in the eclipse and what it's mathematically connected to would have everything to do with that as well. So for those of you who are not aware, and you think eclipses are something that are just neutral, they're neutral in the field and they don't have negative consequences or anything, I'm going to tell you now, as a historian and as a chronologist, I have shown so much information about eclipses in the past, and in no series of data sets have I ever been able to divulge anything positive about an eclipse. They were always connected to negativity and negative events. Now, in the legends and traditions, like anthropologists would be very, very easy. It's very easy for anthropologists to go through their material and just tell you the truth about an eclipse. Oh, okay. Well, most cultures in the world think that you need to stay indoors. Do not let the moon's light touch you. That as soon as an eclipse is over, you need to throw away any food that's laying out in your kitchen, any food that wasn't properly covered and stored away. This is traditions from around the world about eclipses. If you're in the path of an eclipse, you need to make sure you do not eat 3 or 4 hours before the eclipse begins, and you do not eat 3 or 4 hours after the eclipse is over. I'm not making this up. This is in traditions that are ubiquitous. Many cultures throughout history would bathe and wash themselves as soon as the eclipse was over. It was always regarded as an evil omen, a bad omen, and it is not to be looked at or viewed. It is to be, I'm not telling you that, I'm not trying to be superstitious here, but this is what long precedent had established. If there was a beneficial effect in the field of an eclipse, then after thousands of years of experiences, it would have been in the traditions. It would have been in the practices and the dances and the rituals of the very people that were always subject to them. But it's not. It's just the opposite. Mainstream media is absolutely quiet about the thousands of years of hundreds of traditions from around the world about the negative effects of the moon, especially an eclipse. And if full moons without eclipse are known to create and amplify the negativity of an individual, this is lunacy. This is the creation of lunatics. From the moon, Luna. If the moon, when it's full, which emits its own light, remember, the moon's not reflecting sunlight, it's giving off its own illumination. If the moonlight has been measured like it has, and it's a dark light, and it's a negative light, it's a deteriorative light. These tests have been conducted. It's not a generative light like the sun. It's a light that deteriorates. If moonlight and a full moon can amplify the negativity that's already inside someone to the point that they experience lunacy and others see their behavior as erratic and crazy and they're acting animalistic, they've become a lunatic. People didn't make these things up. It is by long observance over many thousands of years that these belief systems are forged. I'm not going to be out there in it. I promise you that. So, still a lot to cover. But you just need to be aware of this. You just need to be aware that it is universal all over the world in almost every time period, that when eclipses appeared, people went indoors. And when they were over with, they did purification ceremonies and rituals, cleansings, smudgings. They washed and bathed themselves in any food that was out during the eclipse was thrown away. It was not eaten. Yeah, so I'm just telling you guys. You do what you want to. I'm just telling you that moonlight amplifies something that's already happening inside of you. That's a key takeaway from this video. So I'm going to, taking all these things into consideration, before we start this logic train, before you follow my thought processes, I'm going to check this chat. Let me check this chat real quick. Hour and 44 minutes. All right, so all right. Yeah, hospitals do fill up with lunatics on full moons. That is not an urban legend. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now, just got me a refill. I'm just got to recharge. So, follow, taking into consideration everything that I just told you. Let's just do a simple logic train. Follow me here. I may publish this. I may just do a PDF of this and post it, or better yet, I can do it fast if you guys just want it in the community, YouTube community. I can copy and paste this, and I can just put it in the deal, so you guys can copy and paste it and share it. It's just simple logic train. The shadow of total eclipse is the event. Follow me here. The shadow of total eclipse, totality, is the event. Now, the event occurs directly over a few million residences involving a lot of people. The event occurs directly over a few million residences. The event draws millions of out-of-staters to occupy the strip of totality. The event draws millions of out-of-state people, visitors, to occupy the strip of totality. The event creates a unique opportunity. The event creates a unique opportunity. Mainstream focus on the event increases awareness of the event. The amplitude. Alt media theories of event increase the awareness of the event. Awareness is directed energy. Opportunity, the opportunity found in the event, is a criminal act carried out during the event. The criminal act remains undiscovered initially because of the event. I'm going to repeat that. The opportunity is created during the event. This opportunity is a criminal act carried out during the event. The criminal act remains undiscovered initially because of the event. The accrual of victims increases awareness of the criminal act within 30 days. Within 30 days of the event, the accrual of victims, which means victims increase, they suddenly increase. The accrual of victims increases awareness of the criminal act. This 30-day period has victims divided as to the origin of the criminal act, which is unrecognized. A 60-day period from the event has systemic recognition now of the criminal act as more victims are steadily created. 90 days later, world governments must respond and restructure to stop any further spread of the criminal act. So, subsection here. Using the eclipse situation that basically involves 50 million Americans as an exercise for a future event. I'm saying that during the eclipse, something else is going to be going on, a criminal act that won't be detected until later. But when it finally reaches a certain amount of victims, it's going to be understood what happened, and it would be the event. But at the same time, the event is also a totally different operation unfolding. It is an exercise that is done that involves 50 million Americans, that is in preparation. This is a huge simulation in preparation of a future event. This is what's going on. This is how PsyOps work. Something hidden is being done as something real is being conducted. So I believe they're going to use the eclipse situation to perform simulations in different regions for different results. This is why people will be reporting different effects. They will be observing different things. And this is why after April 8th, people aren't going to be able to put a coherent story together. PsyOp is going to be carried out to deluge both mainstream and alt media with eclipse narratives, intel drops, similar to successful operations of the Patriot Pacification Program. Objective is to involve entire online community with fear porn and negative anticipation so that when nothing but an eclipse occurs, there is a huge loss of credibility in the online community. It is a tactic employed by mainstream media to discredit alt media. It is a stroke of genius that the eclipse could very possibly be used to amplify something. Because this is what the moon does. It amplifies what's already inside you. That's what it does in full moons. But if the moon is going to be passing in front of the sun, then it's going to be taking in energy from the sun and converting it to something else and amplifying it like a lens. And the focus is the path of totality in the United States. Everybody could go home that night just fine after watching visibly a very unusual event. Maybe they feel a little funny. Maybe time seems to stop during that event. But the effect is delayed it's the criminal act. And then after a period of time, the very things the media have speculated was to occur will unfold throughout 2024, exactly the way we have been expecting it to. But it all goes back to April 8th. It is the third in a series of eclipses, our third day of darkness. But I'm not saying anything bad's going to happen that day that's going to be noticeable. I'm saying that whatever happens on April 8th, I am absolutely convinced that Pfizer is involved. Simple as that. It's simple as that. Mathematically, the eclipse dates are perfectly aligned with it. I can't escape that. I've already released those 2 videos. I cannot escape the fact. I can't get my mind around the fact that Pfizer is involved with something, with doing something with people, and that the greatest amplification for their condition is going to be caused by the moon's own ability to amplify what is already within people. So that's my presentation. Go with it where you want to. And I told you it wasn't going to be long. It's going to be just enough to get the data out. I can publish that. That logic train for you to follow it yourself if you want to. But yeah, no sensationalism here. I'm just telling you here. I'm just telling you now. I'm not going to be a participant. I'm not going to be anywhere. I'm not going to be outdoors. I'm not going to participate. It's not fear programming. I'm not saying that it's something to fear. It's something that I'm not going to participate in. But I do know this. I don't walk up in a zoo and tell a 800-pound gorilla and spit on him and throw things at him because I know he's going to try and reach through those bars and try to get me. It has nothing to do with fear. It has everything to do with prudence. You have to pick and choose your battles. This is one I will not participate in. I'm just not going to. I do not like anything that I've seen. I do not like the fact that the entire community of mainstream media and alt media have come together to put all these scenarios together, and yet still I'm not seeing anybody talk about what these events are mathematically connected to. Yeah, I'm not talking about a purge scenario where people go crazy killing each other and all that. No. That was just rituals in the form of movies, and the actual important things was the dates those movies were released are mathematically connected to the eclipses. And what is the name of the franchise? Purge. So, like I said, it's an interesting world we live in, guys. It's a very interesting world, and I'm going to continue to be interesting in it as long as they let me be. That's my presentation. I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I hope you got out of it what I intend for you to get out of it. But other than that, it's 6 o'clock, and I do have a mission to the pharmacy that I have to go to before they close at 7. So I cannot allow this to go too long. But if you guys want that in the comment section, just let me know right here, and I'll copy and paste it, and I'll put it in the Facebook community. But yeah, I love you guys. And like I said, I'm in a hurry. And I'm going to hit this badass outro. Woo. Oh, thank you for the shirt. Got a donated shirt. Got a Phoenix shirt. It's awesome. Front and back. Got some awesome t-shirts donated.